Poverty. The economic divide. In any society, when we look around, we realize that they are the rich who seem to be enjoying all the comforts. They live in pakka houses, own cars, have good jobs, go to good schools, have the luxury of having food available wherever they feel like eating. While on the other hand, in the same society, we find poor and downtrodden who do not possess a roof over their heads. They beg for a living, who sleep hungry frequently, have no money, and can only dream of 2 meals a day and a decent place to live. Poverty in India, as we find it today, is not of recent origin. It has its roots in the past. Our first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, had said that the parts of India which had been longest under British rule were the poorest. Under the British rule, the industrial capacity or activity, especially in the areas of textiles and metalworking, were purposely and severely reduced. There was colonial privatization, regulations and tariffs were imposed on manufactured or refined Indian goods. Taxes were levied and there were direct seizures. In pre-independent India, social discrimination, illiteracy, the difference between those living in the villages and cities also contributed to poverty. Protectionist policies. Even 65 years after independence, under almost 2 centuries of British, the main causes of poverty are illiteracy and a population growth rate that by far exceeds the economic growth rate for the better part of the 60 years. Certain protectionist policies that were adopted since 1947 to 1991 prevented the investment of large amounts of foreign investment in the country. Since independence, the government has been trying to reduce poverty in the country. A 3-pronged approach has been adopted to achieve this goal. This includes growth-oriented approach, poverty alleviation programs, and an attempt to provide minimum amenities to people. The Industrial Development and Green Revolution. A growth-oriented approach aims to speed up industrial development and also transform agriculture by bringing about a green revolution so that the underdeveloped regions as well as the backward sections of the community can benefit. In an attempt to alleviate poverty, various poverty alleviation programs have been launched. These are aimed at self-employment, wage employment, social security programs, and the urban poverty alleviation programs. Poverty alleviation programs. In an attempt to ease poverty, various poverty alleviation programs have been launched. These are aimed at self-employment like the Rural Employment Generation Program, that is REGP, Prime Minister's Rozgar Yojana, that is PMRY, and Swarn Jayanti Shehri Rozgar Yojana, that is SJSRY. These provide self-employment to the rural poor. The programs allow the individuals to acquire productive assets or learn skills, which would generate additional income on a regular basis. The aim is to help them to cross the poverty line. Assistance is provided in the form of subsidy and bank credit. The wage employment programs have been launched for the poor, unskilled people living in rural areas. The aim is to provide additional wage employment and food security while allowing the development of durable community assets in rural areas. The programs include the National Food for Work Program, that is NFWP, and Sampoorna Gramin Rozgar Yojana, that is SGRY. Food security programs like the Integrated Child Development Scheme and Midday Meal Scheme. Our Constitution has a provision for securing the right to work, to education and to public assistance in cases of unemployment, old age, sickness and disablement, and in other cases of undeserved want. To achieve this, certain social security programs like the National Social Assistance Program have been introduced. राष्ट्रीय स्वास्थ्य बीमा योजना, National Family Benefit Scheme, Urban poverty alleviation is a challenging task. The goal is to adequately feed, educate, house and employ the large and rapidly growing number of impoverished city dwellers. The bulk of the urban poor live in extremely deprived conditions with insufficient physical amenities like low-cost water supply, sanitation, sewerage, drainage, community centers and social services relating to healthcare, nutrition, preschool and non-formal education. Programs like the Nehru Rozgar Yojana and the Prime Minister's Integrated Urban Poverty Eradication Program, that is PMI-UPEP, hope to achieve this. Other measures to alleviate poverty. Additionally, other measures such as increasing stress on education, reservation of seats in government jobs, and the increasing empowerment of women and the economically weaker sections of the society are also expected to contribute to the alleviation of poverty. The efforts since independence towards poverty alleviation have borne fruit. For the first time since independence, the percentage of absolute poor in some states is now well below the national average. Is it enough? Even today, despite all the efforts, hunger, malnourishment, illiteracy, and lack of basic amenities continue to be a common feature in many parts of India. Do disparities continue to exist? While assessing the various poverty alleviation programs, what comes to mind is that probably there are certain glaring reasons that have resulted in failure to achieve the purpose of the programs. Considering the disparities that are present in our society, there is unequal distribution of land and other assets. The various concessions and benefits that were meant to reach the needy and the intended beneficiaries of the programs have been appropriated by the non-poor. The magnitude of the problem being wrestled is so large that probably the resources with which we are trying to fight the problem may be inadequate. The success of any program requires a group of individuals and leaders in the community to ensure that the resources are properly used and not wasted. Lack of motivation among the individuals in charge of implementation, inadequate training, corruption, vulnerability to pressure from a variety of local elites results in inefficient utilization and wastage of resources. It is extremely important that people for whom the programs are meant come forward to actively participate in the programs and benefit from them. It is important to first identify the poverty-stricken areas. The next step is to plan and provide infrastructure such as schools, roads, power, telecom, etc. Social mobilization and encouraging poor people to participate helps to create employment opportunities, which in turn may lead to increase in levels of income, skill development, health and literacy.